So you were reviewing your numbers pretty regularly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, the vast majority of business owners don't do that.
Yes, that I know now too.
Exactly. If you had to account for a particular way to look at numbers to make sure that you're making informed decisions, what would your tips and tricks be?
One of the biggest things I tell people in the business that I'm in now is look at more than your profit and loss. Because typically that's what business owners know, right? Like they're like, oh, I have a profit and loss and I have a really good month last month. Yeah. It's a piece of the puzzle. It's literally like trying to put a puzzle together with half the pieces missing.
Yes.
So there's obviously the balance sheet stuff, but then there's the forecasting and the cash flow management. You can't just say I had a good month.
Right.
There's no guarantee unless it's truly recurring revenue, like that's your whole business model, even then, that's going to continue. And you have to have a certain amount saved up for the lean months or, I mean, stuff happens, right? 2008 happened more than once. It's going to happen again eventually. You can't just rely on a good month to determine the success of your business. There's a lot more to that picture. And I got really excited. I had money in the bank and people were coming. And I was doing all the personal training and it was filling me up as a person. Right. You know, it lit me up. I was never happier. And then the money stopped and I realized that with those operating costs, I had never run a business before. I had run other people's. But when that money runs out,
your checking account.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was shocked at how quickly it goes away. Just a few months. And it's like, oh. And I knew that I had tapped out every resource I could to get the doors open. Because I didn't have traditional funding. So it's not like I had people or resources that I could be like, hey, I'm in a jam. Can you support me? Can you float me over the summer? I'll be fine again in the fall. And at that point, it was sucking the life out of me too. And it was a decision. It was even if the business could rebound, I can't. This is not what I'm meant to be doing. I was a little foolish and kind of pushing through when I probably should have paused a little more, maybe listened to those people I'd asked for their advice.
Yeah, that persistence keeps entrepreneurs going, sometimes a
too
tad
far.
Too long.
Yes. Yes.
So the way I talk about it is it's not failure unless you quit.
Right.
So if you never quit, you have never failed. But that doesn't mean you don't pivot. And you got to a point where you saw the writing on the wall.
Time to pivot.
Yeah. So what was that pivot?
Well, I had an unfortunate series of events. I had really, really debilitating back problems at the time, and I needed a back surgery. Okay. And so at that point, you know, with the divorce and the loss of my house and 50% custody of my child and my business failing and my health failing, I really kind of threw in the towel and just focused on my health at that point.
Okay.
You know, I tried to sell the business, but by the time I tried to sell, I didn't know how much time it took to do that, and it wasn't an option. So we filed bankruptcy and paid off everything that we could, you know, but the rent, I mean, we weren't going to finish out our lease, and but, you know, we kept the mortgage payments and the car, basically everything that we could to be accountable. But I was kind of in a dark place at that point. It felt like the world was kind of crumbling around me, and I couldn't walk, physically couldn't walk. And so I did the surgery and really kind of focused on my health and my recovery. And then when that happened, took a step back and said, okay, what do I want to do? And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew what I didn't want to do.
What was that?
I will never own another business as long as I live.
That's the decision you made.
I will never do this again. Like, thank you for the lessons. I can't. And I really wanted something that was both schedule and brain power wise. I needed a recovery period. I needed to take a year and do something that wasn't up here all the time. And so I became a job developer for people with developmental disabilities, which is, it's a tough role. I mean, not everybody's open to hiring